Last week, the Jehovah's Witnesses released their most recent video begging for money.
How do we use the material things of this world to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus? Everything we own actually belongs to them. However, each one of us has a measure of money and material assets that we are free to use as we please. So to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus, we have to use those things in a way that brings their approval. Our contributions don't have to be in the form of cash.
And while this begging is becoming more and more normal nowadays, there was a little thing they said about it that whipped the XJW community into a frenzy.
The unrighteous riches might even be coconuts. Coconuts.
Ever since Stephen Led broke the long and proud tradition of the witnesses of not begging for money,
as you know, for over 130 years, this organization has never solicited for funds, and it is certainly not going to start now. We in no way want to be categorized with other organizations, religious and otherwise, that coerce their supporters to donate.
However,
the Jehovah's Witnesses have realized that the best way to get donations is to beg for them. So videos like these begging for donations to children and even poor people have only become more common.
Profound thought there, and something to reflect on so that we don't find ourselves, when it comes to contributions on a monthly basis or whatever, empty-handed. Well, I'm doing so much here and there. Well, money meets a response in all things, and you have to take that into account, even if we're in the poor range.
That's why, while watching the latest money begging video, I didn't even find anything worth making a video at first. James Mantz opens with the parable of the unrighteous steward, a fascinating parable where the steward, or accountant, is about to lose his job because he misspent his boss's money, and he doesn't want to do manual labor or beg for money. So, what's his solution? Well, instead of apologizing to his boss, or maybe learning his lesson and finding an honest job, he uses the job he's about to lose to gather his boss's debtors and greatly reduce their debts so they like him. His response of losing his job for embezzling is basically more embezzling. This story is fascinating because Jesus then says how this dude was so clever in misusing his boss's funds that even his boss commends him, and then proceeds to tell his followers that everyone should be just like the embezzler. Jesus is telling people to be more like someone he himself called unrighteous or dishonest.
Jesus doesn't focus on the reason for the steward's dismissal. Rather, he gives attention to the steward's reaction. Verses 2 through 7 show us the reasoning of the steward knowing that he's going to be fired. He says, I'm not strong enough to dig, I'm ashamed to beg, so how am I going to make a living? So he decides to befriend ones who owe things to his master. One debtor owes 100 measures of olive oil, so the steward reduces that debt to 50 measures. The master, on finding out what the steward has done, calls him unrighteous, and yet he commends him for acting with practical wisdom.
The general understanding of this parable is that Jesus was commending not the dishonesty of the steward, but his resourcefulness. Christians interpret this as Jesus telling you to keep looking for solutions to your problems instead of sitting still. But that's obviously not what Jehovah's Witnesses will use this parable for. You see, this parable mentions money, and according to Jehovah's Witnesses, what Jesus here is saying is basically that you should give them your money.
The unrighteous riches represent material resources under the control of sinful humans. Riches often serve selfish ends, and they may be gained through crafty or even illegal business practices. How do we use the material things of this world to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus? Everything we own actually belongs to them. However, each one of us has a measure of money and material assets that we are free to use as we please. So to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus, we have to use those things in a way that brings their approval.
This is clearly just misinterpreting scripture, stretching the meaning to pretend the Bible gives them an excuse to ask for money. And this is already upsetting if you like the Bible, but becomes even more upsetting when you realize this is seen by the poorest of the poor. people who don't even have money. And James Mantz not only knows this, but points them out and directly tells them that they too should donate.
Our contributions don't have to be in the form of cash. In Jesus' illustration, the debt was olive oil and wheat. The unrighteous riches might even be coconuts. A brother in southern India owns a coconut farm. He contributed a large number of coconuts to the local remote translation office. He reasoned the office is going to have to spend money and buy coconuts, so his supplying the coconuts directly would help his contribution go further than it would if he sold the coconuts and gave the office the cash. That is practical wisdom.
And this is when things go from enraging to kind of funny. While we were all too angry at the implications of James Mantz asking for donations to people who quite literally have no more money to give, some creative apostates in the XJW subreddit had the idea to take him at his word. After all, if the Jehovah's Witnesses are so desperate they are literally asking for coconuts, the memes were obviously going to be the first ones to fulfill that request. From coconuts secretly directing the organization to revisionists arguing how the coconut belief has always been a part of the religion, coconuts started to take over the whole Jehovah's Witness organization. And while this was fun, somebody asked, what if we go further? What if we actually send Watchtower a coconut donation? Well, as it turns out, it's easier than you thought. The United States considers a coconut as a self-contained unit, meaning you don't even need a box or an envelope. All you need to do is tape a label like, say, this one with the right address. You can direct it to James Mantz since he's asking, put your address at the top left corner, and ship it at your closest USPS facility. And look, this isn't gonna change anything that's wrong with the religion, but I can't help to love a victimless prank on a religion that's asking for donations from poor people while pretending it's because the Bible. If you're in the United States and have a coconut that you obtained through the unrighteous riches of capitalism, please consider supporting jw.org with your donations. Unless you actually have money instead of coconuts, in which case consider supporting me on Patreon. Here's a quick little peek of a little thing I'm gonna give away soon. Whoops, did you see it? Hope you saw it. Thank you for watching and send your coconuts.